So I decided to have a little bit of a different approach today when doing this video. The reason being, I want to start off with the feats of both of the respective fighters before getting into the narrative on which of these two is stronger. And going by the feats, Super Boo's greatest feat is when he's in a heightened state of power, completely enraged, something he cannot do naturally, and he does the Vice Shout, which is stated it's going to cause surrounding dimensions to collapse into the universe and destroy it. That is his greatest feat. He does not surpass his feat. That is where he caps out at in terms of his power level. Now, Kid Buu, on the other hand, his greatest feat can be seen when he goes to Otherworld and, while suppressed, is getting ready to detonate the entire planet. This matters because Otherworld is stated to be the size of the living universe. Kid Buu was not only going to blow up this planet, but the Grand Kai's dimension, which is actually, as I'm going to get into in a later video, with talking about DBZ Goku to GT Goku and how strong they are, this dimension is actually even larger than the Dragon Ball universe itself. The reason we know that to be the case is because the four Kais can perceive the entirety of the Dragon Ball universe. No one would really argue about this, no one would really complain about this. This is a pretty well-known fact that the North, East, South, and West Kai have the ability to do this. This is even shown when they're on Otherworld and they can perceive the Grand Kai's planet, or when he's on his planet, he can perceive the living universe. This is a pretty well-known fact, but in the Otherworld tournament, when Goku and Pikkon fly off past a certain distance, they can't see them anymore because that's how massive the dimension is. Only Grand Kai can see them. So Kid Buu in this very arc was going to blow up not just something the size of the living universe, but also that dimension. So just going off of their feats alone, Kid Buu is more impressive, especially when we take into account he's suppressed here. He goes to the Supreme Kai's planet, he sees Super Saiyan 2 Goku, he powers up slightly to fight him beyond what he was when he was on this planet trying to goad out Goku and Vegeta, which is going to be pretty important for the narrative section, but he powers up just enough to fight Super Saiyan 2 Goku, beats him. Goku gets 4 times stronger than that, and then he proceeds to play around with Super Saiyan 3 Goku, bully and beat him up, meaning he's multiple times stronger than his feats he was going to perform while heavily suppressed. It's also worth noting that Super Saiyan 2 Goku and Kid Buu actually do a stronger version of the attack that Kid Buu was going to do to blow up Otherworld, and when they do this, it actually proceeds to warp the space of Supreme Kai's planet, which was going to be relevant for the Goku versus Gojo video. But the point of this here is the Supreme Kai outright implies, and so does Elder Kai, that the planet is more durable than anything else in the universe. So not even Otherworld would stack up to how durable this planet is meant to be, or again, any construct you could find, yet they already, before even going into Super Saiyan 3, are warping and distorting this construct. So when it comes to the power section, there's not really much of an argument that I think you can have in the favor of Buuhan. But now this is where we begin to talk about the narrative of Buuhan, because the narrative can turn this into a simple situation of, well, feats versus statements. It's possible that while Kid Buu might do more impressive things on screen, that Buuhan has a greater narrative. So what is his narrative? What is the thing that people who are Buuhan fans tend to say in his favor? It all boils down to one statement that Bootanks makes, which is that he is the mightiest Majin ever, past, present, and future.
この瞬間こそ未来においても二度と現れぬであろう最強の魔人の誕生だ。
So, ignoring the fact that he literally says future when he has no idea what he's talking about there, people who use this statement tend to also forget the fact that Super Buu, the same Super Buu, doesn't consider Kid Buu a Buu. He literally tells Vegeta when he's going to rip Majin Buu out of him to stop, I won't be me anymore. If he's saying that he's not going to be me, yet he's implying that he's the strongest him ever when he's Bootanks, that means he does not consider Kid Buu a him, or a version of, you know, the Boos that, again, would be included in that statement. So now let's get on to pretty much the last two talking points that Buuhan fans tend to use when it comes to discussing whether or not Buu is stronger than Kid Buu, and that's the Gohan is stronger than Goku, so therefore, if Kid Buu loses to Goku, Boo doesn't get stronger, then Buuhan has to be the stronger of the two Boos. The problem with this is Goku does get stronger. This is pretty evident that he does grow stronger, besides the fact that he's not even in a living body when he first arrives on Earth. Later on, it's pretty easily shown the growth in power that they have, when not only do Goku and Vegeta both briefly fight Buuhan, and even if you say, well, he's suppressed, Majin Vegeta was beaten unconscious by Fat Boo, who was suppressed. Plus, against Kid Buu, this is post Vegito, this is post being inside of Buu, which we'll get back to in a second. When it's Vegeta's turn and he goes up against Kid Buu, in base mind you, he refers to the beating he's taking from Kid Buu as something that is not something he could possibly imagine. He's referring to it as if this is some sort of unfathomable power that he has never felt before, and he can't believe Goku is fighting it. This is the same Vegeta who already fought Fat Buu as Majin Vegeta, meaning if this beating is something beyond comprehension to him, yet he's able to withstand it to the point Kid Buu is actually getting scared, thinking Vegeta should have stopped fighting already. This right here very easily shows Vegeta stronger than he ever was before. And two more points to support this. One, Goku does better against Buu tanks than Gohan does against Buu tanks. That's pretty evident. I see people all the time want to say, oh, well, Goku lost too. No, he didn't. And if you go back and look at that fight, he clearly does better. It wouldn't even matter if they both lost. It's about who had the better performance. And that was pre-Vegito, which it's never really established if Goku and Vegeta got stronger by merging into Vegito. But it is a very high possibility that that's the case, considering Vegito was never a being who was meant to defuse. But he is the merger of both Goku and Vegeta. This fusion is not like the fusion dance. This is a permanent fusion, a bonding between two beings that is, again, implied to be very different. When they come undone, whether or not it is that their bodies somehow split Vegito's power somehow, whether or not it's somehow they retained some of the growth Vegito had, I don't know. But you could easily just infer, looking at what happens in the series, there is a high likelihood that they did grow from becoming undone by the fusion. Now, inside of Buu's body, there is a scene where Goku and Vegeta seem to be very wary of fighting Buu. The thing about this scene that people tend to ignore is they don't know that inside of Buu's body that they're weaker than they are on the outside. They don't imply it. They never say it even one time. They seem to think that they're at the normal level of power. But we know that officially they're stated to be like at 100th of their power, or some ridiculously small number like that, if I recall correctly. And beyond this, regardless of what it is they might have thought initially, looking at what they do inside of Buu's body, they have the feats of Goku fighting Gohan, or they copy Gohan, who is stated to be as strong as him, Vegeta fighting Gotenks and Piccolo. And the reason these matter is because Buu is not fighting on the outside. So these are essentially the vestiges of power that represent them that Buu has access to, but he's not using at the moment. It would be different if Buu was at full power on the outside, yet Gohan's power also manifested inside as his own individual being. That would be weird, but since he's not fighting and he's playing around in the real world, it makes sense that it could manifest on its own inside of his body. And beyond this, Goku and Vegeta do fight Super Buu inside of his body, and they keep winning over and over. But Buu makes the claim that they can never completely win because he'll continue to regenerate. That's the issue. It's not that they can't destroy him, it's that they can't get rid of him inside of there. On top of this, Goku grows again when he is in his fight with Kid Buu, which is this is the most damning portion of this. If you are somehow a denier that they get stronger, Goku loses to Kid Buu 2 times as a Super Saiyan 3. He gets his power restored by the Dragon Balls, and as a Super Saiyan, overpowers the Genki Dama and Kid Buu. And for anyone who wants to say, well, the Genki Dama was never a threat to Goku, this version of the Genki Dama is. Many people forget that ever since Namek, the version of the Genki Dama Goku has been using is a destructive force of energy that will kill anyone, including Goku himself, if he is not strong enough. So when he throws the Genki Dama at Kid Buu and Kid Buu throws it back, that Genki Dama is as good as his. And when Goku gets his power restored as a Super Saiyan, and he's capable of overpowering Kid Buu and the Genki Dama at the same time, that means he got stronger. He got a Zenkai boost from the fight. There is no way around it. Now we're on to the last Buhan fan talking point, and I say this for last because it's the most ridiculous one of them all. And that's that Kid Buu is the most dangerous Buu and Buhan's the strongest Buu. So you tell me which Buu does this apply to? He wiped out humanity, he had a temper tantrum and ripped a hole through a dimension, turned everyone on the lookout into candy and ate them all, manipulated 2 children, absorbed them, and then stated he did not care what his path to power was as long as he was the strongest. Threw a fit, tries to rage quit a fight and tried to blow up the planet, then tried to rage quit a fight the second time and got so volatile that he screamed and almost collapsed the entire universe. Which one does that apply to? Because he sounds pretty dangerous to me. While the other Buu is one that people just assumed was evil and assumed that what he wanted to do was destroy the universe, but we know from when he went to Otherworld that that isn't the case, because if he wanted to do that, he could have destroyed it in one shot. And by looking at his actions on Earth and in the Supreme Kai's world, we can tell that what Buu was actually trying to do the entire time that he existed, and the scenes where we see galaxies being destroyed, is he is going from world to world trying to find someone who can fight him. That's why he didn't destroy Otherworld. If he was just a raging berserker, he would have blown it up, but he didn't. He stopped himself. He could have easily done it before he went there, but instead, the entire point of what Kid Buu has been doing, why he went with Bibbidi, why he went around the universe, and when we actually get to see close-ups of what's happening on the planet, we don't get views from the galaxy. When we actually see him on these worlds, the anime depicts to us him actually fighting the populations of the planets. He could just one-shot them if he wanted to, but he's not doing that because he's searching for someone. The other Buu, especially if we did use the logic that for some reason Kid Buu was this raging, mindless berserker, right? Just completely take away his narrative, take away his depth and complexity. When we say he is just a raging berserker, doesn't the guy who spent his entire time scheming and plotting seem like he'd be more dangerous if he had, I don't know, a relative amount of power but a brain to use it? Doesn't he seem like he'd be more dangerous? Like, no matter how you try to interpret this entire Kid Buu is more dangerous but Buhan's stronger, it's stupid. It doesn't make sense. Going by their actions, Buhan is the more dangerous one. Super Buu is more dangerous, period. And going by the actual feats, Kid Buu is stronger. And he never wanted to destroy the universe. He never was aiming to do that. He was only aiming, again, from the perspective of us, the viewers, who got to see the series, as opposed to people in the series who have no idea what it is his actual intentions are. Only thing he ever wanted was someone to fight, and that's what Goku was. So this whole argument doesn't even hold up. This is exactly what makes Buu a dark parallel to Goku. But regardless of that, kind of just to wrap this video up, this discussion to me for the most part seems like a lot of bias and and it's something you find in multiple different communities. You'll find it in Dragon Ball especially, where people want Super Buu to be stronger regardless of the fact that Goku says that Buu is stronger, Vegeta says that Buu is stronger, the narrator says Buu is stronger, Zakao Koyama says Buu is stronger, Akira Toriyama said Buu is stronger. Literally any source you can find officially on this will say Buu is stronger. But if I was to compare this to something else in the Dragon Ball community, I would compare it to Android 18. I didn't make it public yet that I was making a video on 18. There were two particularly. One, if she was capable of beating Piccolo. The second one was how strong she is in the Buu saga. But in my time doing research for 18 and why she's probably the strongest android in the series during the point of the Buu saga, yes, even stronger than Cell, I came across this pretty interesting thing people would do. People will say Android 18 and Vegeta were relative to one another, and that the only reason she beat Vegeta was because she wore him out. But this same person will say, oh yeah, Piccolo, he's stronger than Vegeta, he's way stronger than Vegeta. Yeah, that's common knowledge. 17, he's relative to Piccolo. Obviously, they're both way stronger than Vegeta. 18, oh, she's stated in the manga to be slightly weaker than 17, but yeah, she's relative to 17. And then they'll turn right back around and say, 18 and Vegeta, oh, she's relative to Vegeta, she just wore him out. And it would be the same person who will say this. The Dragon Ball community especially has a way of arguing emotionally and biasly who they want to win, while saying something that will directly contradict not only the series, but themselves. And they would do it constantly. This is exactly what I think the Buu fight here is people who, again, will constantly contradict themselves without thinking about it, simply because they want one to be stronger than the other. Personally, again, for the reasons I've laid out in this video, Kid Buu is the stronger of the two. You can have a different opinion. If you do, go ahead, like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment and tell me exactly why it is you think, with all of this, that for some reason Buhan is the stronger of the two. Because I, for the life of me, can't fathom it for any reason as to why anyone would think that's the case.